Long Island medium Theresa Caputo is about to introduce her new husband to everyone. His family members welcomed him with a smile and wholeheartedly supported him in this new chapter. However, Theresa's ex-husband Larry Caputo did not take the news lightly. He was deeply shocked and hurt. Theresa Caputo, known across the country as the Long Island medium, was about to make one of the biggest announcements of her life. Standing in her beautifully decorated backyard, surrounded by close friends and family, she introduced the man who had brought light back into her life, her new husband, Michael Russo, a kind-hearted artist from upstate New York. As she held his hand and shared their story of love and healing, the crowd smiled and clapped, truly happy for her. Michael's family embraced Theresa as one of their own. His mother even gave a heartfelt toast, saying, "It takes strength to start over, and we're so proud to welcome you, Theresa, into our family." But not everyone was smiling that day. From a distance, hidden behind a line of trees, Larry Caputo watched the gathering unfold. He hadn't been invited, nor did he expect to be, but curiosity had pulled him back to the place that used to be home. Seeing Theresa move on stirred a storm of emotions in Larry. It wasn't that he wished her unhappiness. No, deep down, he always wanted the best for her. But the finality of it all, the laughter, the clinking of glasses, the look in her eyes when she held someone else's hand, shook him to his core. That night, back in his apartment, Larry sat with a glass of wine, staring at an old photo of him and Theresa on their wedding day. He sighed and whispered, "Guess it's really over now." Yet, even in his pain, there was a flicker of understanding. Life moves on, people grow, and maybe one day he'd find peace too. However, it was a cloudy afternoon when Theresa Caputo stepped into the small living room of a quaint Long Island home. The scent of lavender hung gently in the air, mingling with the aroma of old books and warm memories. Seated across from her was Mia, a quiet woman in her late 20s, clutching a locket tightly in her hand. Theresa closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and smiled. "Okay, your grandmother is coming through really strong," she said, tilting her head slightly. "She's showing me stars, like actual stars in the night sky. And she keeps saying you were her little light." Mia gasped, her eyes welling with tears. "She used to call me her shining star when I was little. She said I lit up her world after Grandpa died." Theresa nodded, her voice soft but certain. "She's telling me she still watches over you every night, like she's always near when you look up at the stars. And she's showing me a book. Did she read to you before bed?" "Yes," Mia whispered, "every night. The same book, Goodnight Moon. I kept it after she passed." Theresa smiled warmly. "She says you read it to your daughter now, and that means the world to her. She's so proud of the mother you've become." At that moment, the room seemed to glow a little brighter, as if a light had turned on from within. Theresa looked up, her eyes sparkling. "She wants you to know she's still your biggest fan. When you doubt yourself, just look up. She'll be that twinkling star, reminding you that you are never, ever alone." Mia sobbed, but they were tears of comfort. In that quiet room, with the echo of a grandmother's love and the words of a gifted medium, healing had begun. However, it was a chilly fall afternoon in Long Island. Theresa Caputo adjusted the velvet cushions in her reading room and lit a lavender candle. Her next appointment was with a young woman named Emily, who had reached out with hope and a little skepticism after losing her beloved grandmother a year ago. Emily walked in quietly, holding a small locket in her hand. Theresa welcomed her with her usual warm smile. "I'm feeling a very strong grandmother presence," Theresa said almost immediately. "She's showing me stars, a bright shining star. And she keeps saying, 'My little star never stopped glowing.' Does that mean anything to you?" Emily's eyes filled with tears. "She used to call me her shining star since I was 5. She even made me a star-shaped quilt." Theresa smiled. "She wants you to know she's still watching over you. She's behind your every step, especially when you doubt yourself." Theresa paused. She's also showing me something about a hidden letter in a book." Emily gasped. "I found an old book in her attic last week. It had a note inside, addressed to me. I didn't understand how it got there." "She knew you'd find it when you needed it most," Theresa said gently. "She placed it there. You were never alone, and you never will be." Emily clutched the locket tighter, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. For the first time in months, her heart felt lighter. As she left the room, the sun peeked through the gray clouds outside, casting a single ray of light on the sidewalk, a little reminder from her grandmother, the shining star behind the reed. However, it was a crisp autumn afternoon when Theresa Caputo sat down in her Long Island home, the scent of burning candles and sage filling the air. She had been feeling a strange energy all day, an emotional heaviness she couldn't shake. As she prepared for a private reading scheduled with a new client, the spirit world whispered more intensely than usual. Her client, a woman named Karen, arrived with red-rimmed eyes and shaky hands. "I wasn't sure if I should come," Karen admitted, clutching a photograph of a teenage girl. "This is my daughter, Emily. She passed away last month in a car accident." Theresa nodded gently, already feeling a presence in the room. "She's here," she said softly. "Emily, she's showing me the crash. It was quick. She didn't suffer." Tears spilled down Karen's cheeks. "It happened so fast. I didn't even get to say goodbye." Theresa closed her eyes, focusing. "She says you were the last person she texted. She told you she'd be home soon." Karen gasped. "Yes," she said, "be home in 10. That was the last thing I ever heard from her." Theresa smiled, eyes misting over. "She's telling me that she's still home, in a different way now. She's with you always. She says, tell Mom to stop blaming herself. It wasn't her fault. I was looking at my phone." Karen sobbed, her hands trembling. "I needed to hear that." Theresa reached across the table, touching her hand. "She's at peace, and she wants you to be too. She's sending so much love from the other side." As the reading ended, a calm washed over Karen for the first time in weeks. And Theresa, too, felt the emotional weight lift. Another spirit heard, another heart healed. However, Jake Thompson didn't believe in anything he couldn't see, touch, or explain. As a science journalist, he had spent years debunking myths, exposing hoaxes, and calling out charlatans. So when his editor asked him to attend a taping of Long Island Medium and write a piece about Theresa Caputo, Jake rolled his eyes, but agreed. After all, exposing another psychic would make a good story. The studio audience buzzed with excitement as Theresa walked in, her signature big hair and even bigger personality lighting up the room. Jake sat in the back, arms crossed, notebook ready to catch any inconsistency. Then she paused mid-step, eyes narrowing. "I'm getting a very strong male energy, someone who passed suddenly." "Jake? Who's Jake?" Jake's pen froze. "No way," he muttered. He hadn't spoken his name to anyone there. Theresa turned and looked straight at him. "He says you still have the watch. The one he gave you before he passed. He's proud of the man you've become." Jake's face drained of color. In his pocket, he carried an old wristwatch, a gift from his father who had died of a heart attack 12 years ago. He hadn't mentioned the watch to anyone in years. He says he's sorry he didn't say, "I love you more." Jake blinked hard, his vision blurring. He had never cried in public before, especially not over something like this. But in that moment, all his skepticism cracked under the weight of something he couldn't explain. As tears rolled down his cheeks, the audience fell silent. Theresa smiled gently. "You don't have to believe in me," she said softly, "but your dad believed in you." Jake didn't write the expose. Instead, he wrote a very different kind of story, one about mystery, memory, and a moment that changed everything. However, it was a regular Tuesday morning at Heavenly Styles, the cozy little hair salon tucked into a quiet corner of Long Island. The scent of hairspray and lavender filled the air, mingling with the buzz of gossip and blow dryers. But today wasn't going to be ordinary, not with Theresa Caputo in the chair. Known across the island and beyond for her gift of connecting with the departed, Theresa was there for a trim, or so everyone thought. As stylist Gina clipped away at Theresa's signature blonde hair, the medium's eyes glazed over for just a moment. She suddenly looked toward the empty chair across the room and whispered, "Did someone here lose a grandmother named Rose?" The salon went silent. Jessica, the shampoo girl, turned pale. My Nana, her name was Rose. She passed last year. Theresa smiled gently. She's here, and she's not happy about the way you've been skipping breakfast. Says you'll never grow your hair long on coffee alone. Everyone laughed nervously. Theresa continued, almost casually. She also says you left her rosary in the old jewelry box. You'll want to check the attic. Jessica nodded, tears welling up. She'd searched everywhere for it. From that moment on, Heavenly Styles became known as more than just a salon. People came for color and cuts, but also to hear from loved ones long gone. Spirits whispered between curling irons and clips, and Theresa, with a hairdryer in one hand and the afterlife in the other, listened. Because sometimes, closure comes with a blowout. However, it was a chilly Sunday evening in Long Island. The auditorium buzzed with quiet excitement as people filled the seats, clutching photos, old lockets, or simply hope. At the center of it all stood Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, known for her gift to connect with those who have crossed over. Among the audience sat Emma, a young woman in her 20s. Her eyes were tired, and her fingers nervously twisted a silver ring that once belonged to her older brother, Jake. He had died 2 years ago in a car accident, and since then, Emma had carried an unbearable silence within her. The lights dimmed. Theresa walked onto the stage, her signature high hair and warm presence filling the room. She closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them wide with a gasp. "I'm feeling a strong male energy," she said, scanning the crowd. He passed suddenly. "I'm hearing music. Did he play the guitar?" Emma's breath caught. Jake had been a guitarist in a local band. Her hand shot up. Theresa turned to her. "You," she pointed. "He's here. He's showing me a silver ring. Do you have it?" Emma nodded, tears already brimming. It was his. Theresa smiled softly. "He says he didn't get to say goodbye, and it's been killing you inside. But he wants you to know, he hears every song you play, every time you whisper to him at night." Emma sobbed. "I thought I was imagining it." "You're not," Theresa said, her voice trembling. "He says, tell him I'm still her biggest fan. And he's playing a song on his guitar just for you. He says you'll hear it soon." The crowd was silent, holding their breath in the shared moment. For Emma, the weight she'd carried for 2 years lifted just enough for her to smile through her tears. As the event ended and people began to leave, a soft melody played through the speakers, one of Jake's favorite tunes. Emma paused, closed her eyes, and for the first time in years, felt truly seen. And maybe, just maybe, she wasn't alone. It was a cool autumn evening when 800 people gathered in the grand auditorium of Long Island's Cultural Center, all drawn by one name, Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium. The crowd buzzed with anticipation, some skeptical, others hopeful, most clutching old photographs or trinkets of loved ones long gone. Theresa stepped onto the stage with her signature hairdo and electric presence. "Spirits already talking," she said with a smile, her voice echoing through the room. "I don't know who needs to hear this, but I've got a woman here." She passed from something in the chest. She's saying the name Annie and showing me yellow roses. In the back row, a teenage girl gasped. Her name was Mia, and her grandmother Annie had died of lung cancer the year before. She had brought a pressed yellow rose in her locket that her grandma once gave her. Theresa's eyes scanned the crowd until they landed on Mia. "You, sweetheart, in the jean jacket," she said, pointing. "Your grandma wants you to know she's proud of you for singing at the talent show, even though you were scared." Tears welled up in Mia's eyes. She hadn't told anyone about that. Throughout the night, the messages kept coming. Spirits of fathers, brothers, childhood friends. Laughter mixed with tears as Theresa relayed small, intimate details no one could have guessed. A man in his 60s heard from the son he lost in a car accident. A woman reconnected with her childhood best friend who'd passed young. But the most powerful moment came when Theresa suddenly paused, looked confused, then smiled. "I've never had this happen before," she said. "There's a spirit saying this isn't just about messages, this is about healing together. Someone here has a message for the rest of the room." Silence fell. Then a shy woman in the middle row stood up, trembling. I feel like I need to say thank you to everyone for holding space, for believing, for hoping. We're all here for love, and that never dies." The crowd erupted in quiet applause, and for a moment, 800 strangers weren't strangers at all. They were connected by memory, by faith, and by the unseen threads that tie hearts across time. And as the lights dimmed and people made their way out, many swore they felt lighter, as if someone had whispered, "I'm still with you." Hello lovely viewers, welcome to my channel. I am Mina, hope your day is so well. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel.